we will be starting our new chapter in project management, which is need identification. Need identification is the initial phase in which we would be identifying the needs of the stakeholders whom we would be working with in ensuring that we are able to go ahead, meet their expectations, and we are able to provide whatever is the necessity of the stakeholder. So while we say this, we are referring to a phase where we are identifying the needs of the stakeholder. This is the initial phase of the project life cycle where we are recognizing the need, the problem, or the opportunity that we would be seeing, and then we would uh, ensure on working on it and create a request for proposal, or we would have to go ahead, identify the need of the customer or the problem and see what better way we would be able to go ahead and do that. In this way, we would see benefits in undertaking a project and to ensure that we have derived a result in improving the kind of project that we have to work on. So here the objectives of need for identification, we would be looking at identifying the needs, proposing a solution, performing the project, terminating the projects. And also when we say this, we would focus on the needs of identification, select the project. Once we identify the needs, it's not necessary that we would have to go ahead and work only on one project. Sometimes while we are working and identifying the needs or the opportunities, it could so happen that we come up with 2 or 3 projects together and we would have to prioritize and select which project needs to be worked first. While we do this, we would also have to work on RFP, which is request for proposals, where we would have to go ahead, create and develop a request for proposal, either to have a proposal in place where a consultant or somebody would be working on the project for you, or sometimes as a person who's working on this entire project, you might reach out to consultants or to other suppliers or workers if you do not have the kind of resource to go ahead and work on the project. So this is a request for proposal, and we would be seeing more in detail about request for proposal in the coming days. And we would also talk about how to go about the proposal solicitation process. So while we say this, let's move on to needs of identification. While we talk about need for identification, where we are selecting a project, while we are selecting a project, there is a criteria which we will have to go ahead and with each opportunity that is there, we would have to evaluate. We need to evaluate as to which is important, what is the budget, do we have the kind of resources. There's a lot that gets into the evaluation process. There is a list that we would have, which we need to go ahead and check, keep ticking it to see if we are right on our evaluation while we are selecting the project. We have to go ahead and list down the assumptions that we have, list down the risk that we are seeing, and also gather data and information for each opportunity. Against each opportunity, we will evaluate the criteria. So this is something that we would have to go ahead and work on while we are implementing it. And then we would have to get a group buy-in. When we say a group buy-in, that is that the entire group or the management committee that is there, they have to go ahead and approve of this project. If we have gone ahead and identified it, they have to go ahead and give it a buy-in saying that you all can go ahead and work on it, so that we have a better quality decision, and then there is a higher acceptance of the decision. There is an effective approach that we have to look into. While we say this, there is a selection committee which develops a set of evaluation criteria. So they have their own criteria apart from us. Even the selection committee will have their own criteria to go ahead and see which projects fall into their criteria and which can go ahead and be approved and worked on, and where they can go ahead execute it to meet the objectives. So in most cases, selection is based on combination of quantitative and qualitative evaluation. So both of them are very, very important while we go ahead and select a project. While we are requesting or preparing a request for proposal, we have to have everything in detail. A request for proposal happens when while we are during the initial stage of a project, where after we recognize the need or the problem, we are clearly defining it. So once we clearly define the need, then we would quantify the entire problem and work on the budget, the costing of how we would be going about the project, and then select the project with greatest benefit for the cost expansion. And then we would go ahead and we will reach out to a contractor or to a project team in our own organization who would work on the project for us. Sometimes we might be having a list of contractors that we have worked with previously, whom we can reach out directly to and ensure, because we know, since we have worked with them before, we know that they would be able to go ahead and do a great job with the quality, and even ensuring that it's within the budget and they are able to go ahead and deliver the project on time. Or let's just say a product that has to be done by a given point of time. So we know that they would be able to meet our expectation. In that case, we would reach out with a request for proposal with my objective, with my goal and objective of the project, with the budget that I have, the kind of skill set that I am looking for to work on this project. And then I'm asking, when I am sending a request for proposal, this is actually because I would be asking them for a quotation. I am requesting them for a quotation. Once I have the quotation in hand, I would be able to go ahead and pick up from the quotes. And it's not necessarily always that the cost is the criteria. Cost will be the last criteria. Most of the companies would see if the skill set that is required to work on the project is there. They would go ahead and see what is the standing of this contractor in the market. Have they been in a better stand? Are they in reputed? Would they be able to go ahead and work on the project and deliver it on time? Do they have all the skill set that is required, the material, the resources? All this is being taken into consideration. So this is a set of criteria that even I as a stakeholder or I as a client would have while going ahead and marking all the quotations that I have. So I am having my own checklist at the end of the day, and the criteria so the criteria, when I say checklist and criteria, I am doing an evaluation of all the quotations that I have received, and I will see the weightage, which has more weightage. I will go ahead and give the contract to them so that they can go ahead and work on the entire project for me. So this may be communicated informally and sometimes just orally. But then it's the best way that people can go about doing this is by communicating through an email, or if the RFP has been online or on a website, they will go ahead and say that so and so person who has submitted the RFP, we have gone ahead and taken them into consideration and we will be going ahead and working with them. So the guidelines that we would have to follow while creating a RFP to send it out across to external contractors, SOW, which is statement of work. You would need to have a detailed statement of work. What is the kind of work that you are looking at? What is the resources that you are looking at? The skill set that you are looking at? The budget that you have? The timeline that you have for the project to be completed? This is the entire statement of work. All these details have to be in place. Then the requirements, the deliverables. When I'm saying deliverables, it is as to by when each and every activity needs to be delivered so that we have the project being in par as per the schedule. The customer supplied items. If there's anything that I have to go ahead and give it to the contractor once their quotation is approved. So I would let them know that I would go ahead and give you all these things to work on the project. And I would even be talking about invoices, how the payment is going to be made. Would it be weekly, hourly, monthly? And what is the kind of invoice statement that I would be sending out to them? Would it also have all the details in place? The approvals required by the customer, is it just by me or my management who needs to go ahead and work on it, and the type of contract. Now, when we are talking about the type of contract, we are saying that there are a few type of contracts in an RFP. One would be as per what the client requires. If it is a fixed RFP, where we are saying all the prices are going to be fixed, even if there has been a change in resources or a change in material cost or anything, I would not go ahead and pay for those costs as such, variable cost as such. This is a fixed contract. So depending on the kind of contract that we work on, sometimes if you finish the work on way beforehand, you might get a bonus from the contract from the client. But if you have delayed, then you might be paying a penalty. So all these would be taken into consideration while we are going ahead and working on the contract. So this is something that we would be looking at while working on the project, while we are identifying the needs of for a project. So this is something, mostly we would be soliciting proposals either through sending out an RFP directly to contractors that we know, or advertise it in newspaper or online. These are a few sources that we would be using while we work on them. And I would go ahead and give you a case study, which I would want you to work on to understand and let me know what is the need of identifications that you are seeing from this case study, and how would you want to go ahead and create the RFP, and what are the details, the SOW that you would have in place to work on this RFP. So this is something that that you would be working over the next 2 days as an assignment, and in the next class we will take this up. Okay, thank you so much for your time. You have a nice day. I will see you in the next class.